Hi, welcome to CrimeSphere, your #1 channel for the most mysterious, mind-boggling, and chilling crime stories from around the world. If you're fascinated by unsolved cases, disappearances, and criminals who manage to slip away without a trace, then you're in the right place. But before we dive into today's thrilling episode, let me ask you this. How does someone, especially a high-profile criminal, just vanish off the face of the earth? No clues, no leads, no footprints. In an age of advanced surveillance, forensic technology, and international law enforcement, the idea of escaping justice seems nearly impossible. Yet, history has shown us that some of the most notorious criminals manage to do just that, disappear without a single trace, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and a trail of bewildered investigators. From cunning masterminds to ruthless outlaws, today we're counting down the top 10 criminals who vanished without a trace. Each of these cases is more baffling than the last. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because some of these disappearances are so mysterious they still keep investigators up at night. So, without further ado, let's dive into our list of fugitives who pulled off the impossible and simply vanished. Number 10. Rafael Caro Quintero. The ghost of the Mexican cartel. Rafael Caro Quintero, one of the most infamous drug lords in history, was the founder of the Guadalajara cartel in the 1980s. He was responsible for the brutal murder of DEA agent Enrique "Kiki" Camarena in 1985, a crime that sent shockwaves through the law enforcement world. Quintero was arrested and sentenced to 40 years in prison, but was unexpectedly released in 2013 due to a judicial ruling. The U.S. government, furious over his release, immediately placed him on their most wanted list, offering a staggering $20 million reward for information leading to his capture. Despite global efforts, Quintero vanished, eluding authorities for nearly a decade. Some reports suggest he lived in hiding in the mountains of Sinaloa, Mexico, with the protection of the powerful Sinaloa cartel. However, in 2022, his luck finally ran out. Mexican authorities captured him in a high-stakes operation, putting an end to his long disappearance. While Quintero's escape didn't last forever, his ability to stay under the radar for years remains one of the most astonishing criminal disappearances in modern history. Number 9. The Isdal Woman, a mystery that still haunts Norway. In November 1970, hikers discovered a burnt corpse in Norway's remote Isdalen Valley. The victim, known only as the Isdal Woman, had no identification, and all the labels on her clothes were removed. Dental records suggested she had extensive dental work performed in different parts of Europe, but no match could be found. Investigators discovered multiple suitcases linked to her at a nearby train station, containing a set of mysterious coded notes, wigs, and fake passports under various aliases. The case became even more bizarre when witnesses reported that she had been seen around Norway with mysterious men speaking in multiple languages. Despite extensive investigations, her identity remains unknown, and the circumstances surrounding her death are just as puzzling. Was she a spy, a fugitive, or something even more sinister? The Isdal Woman remains one of history's greatest mysteries, a criminal or victim who disappeared into legend. Number 8. Lord Lucan, the vanishing aristocrat. British aristocrat Lord Lucan, or Richard John Bingham, was a high society gambler who lived a lavish lifestyle. However, in 1974, he was accused of a brutal attack on his wife and the murder of his children's nanny, Sandra Rivet. Lucan was last seen borrowing a friend's car after the crime, which was later found abandoned with bloodstains. Despite massive searches and a worldwide manhunt, he was never seen again. Over the decades, there have been numerous theories. Some believe he drowned himself, while others claim he was smuggled out of the country and lived under an assumed identity. Even today, his fate remains a mystery, making him one of the most famous missing criminals in history. Number 7. The D.B. Cooper heist, America's greatest unsolved skyjacking. Perhaps the most legendary fugitive on this list, D.B. Cooper committed one of the most daring crimes in American history. In 1971, he hijacked a Boeing 727, demanded $200,000 in ransom, and then did the unthinkable. He parachuted out of the plane mid-flight into the vast wilderness of the Pacific Northwest. Despite decades of investigations, countless theories, and even deathbed confessions, Cooper was never found. Some believe he perished in the jump, while others claim he lived out his days in secrecy, spending his stolen fortune. The FBI closed the case in 2016, making it one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in U.S. history. Number 6. Rocco Perry, Canada's most notorious mobster. Rocco Perry, often called the Al Capone of Canada, was a powerful mob boss during the Prohibition era. His criminal empire revolved around bootlegging, smuggling, and organized crime. In 1944, after years of dodging law enforcement and rival gangsters, Perry simply vanished. Some speculate that he was assassinated, while others believe he went into hiding under a new identity. His abandoned car was found near Hamilton, Ontario, but no trace of him was ever found. Despite numerous investigations and theories, his fate remains unknown, making his disappearance one of Canada's greatest mysteries. Number 5. The Alcatraz escapees. Did they survive? In 1962, 3 inmates, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, pulled off the impossible. They escaped from the notorious Alcatraz prison. Using makeshift tools, they tunneled through their cell walls and created lifelike dummies to fool the guards. Their makeshift raft was last seen floating in the cold waters of San Francisco Bay. Did they drown, or did they escape and start new lives? The FBI declared them dead, but occasional sightings and mysterious letters suggest otherwise. The mystery remains unsolved, with some believing they successfully fled to South America. Number 4. Rudolf Abel, the Soviet spy. Rudolf Abel, one of the most infamous Soviet spies of the Cold War era, was a master of deception and intelligence operations. Operating in the U.S. under a false identity, Abel was eventually arrested in 1957 after being betrayed by a Soviet defector. Sentenced to 30 years in prison, his fate took a dramatic turn in 1962 when he was exchanged in a high-stakes prisoner swap for American U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers. Once back in the Soviet Union, Abel received a hero's welcome, but soon faded from the public eye. Some reports suggest he continued intelligence work, while others claim he lived out his final years in relative obscurity. His later life remains shrouded in secrecy, fueling speculation about whether he truly disappeared or was simply hidden away by the Soviet government. Number 3. James Whitey Bulger, the elusive mob boss. James Whitey Bulger was one of America's most feared and powerful crime bosses, ruling Boston's underworld for decades. As the leader of the Winter Hill Gang, he controlled drug trafficking, extortion, and racketeering with ruthless efficiency. However, in 1994, as the FBI closed in, Bulger vanished. For 16 years, he lived in hiding, moving between different locations with the help of his longtime girlfriend, Catherine Greig. Despite being one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives, he successfully evaded capture until 2011, when a tip led authorities to a quiet apartment in Santa Monica, California. His ability to remain undetected for so long, despite his notoriety, cemented his status as one of the most elusive criminals in history. Number 2. Adolf Eichmann, the Nazi war criminal. Adolf Eichmann was one of the masterminds behind the Holocaust, orchestrating the deportation of millions of Jews to concentration camps. As World War II ended, he escaped Allied forces using false identities, eventually finding refuge in Argentina. For years, Eichmann lived under the alias Ricardo Clement, working as a factory worker in Buenos Aires. Despite efforts by Nazi hunters, he remained hidden until Israeli intelligence agency Mossad launched Operation Finale in 1960. A team of agents tracked him down and abducted him, smuggling him to Israel for trial. His capture and subsequent trial became one of the most significant moments in post-war justice. Eichmann was convicted of crimes against humanity and executed in 1962. His years in hiding remain a chilling example of how war criminals evade justice. Number 1. The Zodiac Killer. Who was he? Perhaps the most chilling and enigmatic figure on this list, the Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Unlike other criminals who disappeared after their crimes, the Zodiac taunted police and the media with cryptic letters, bizarre ciphers, and coded messages. His confirmed victims were 5, but he claimed to have killed at least 37 people. The mystery deepened when the Zodiac abruptly stopped killing, or at least stopped communicating. law enforcement never identified him, and despite numerous theories, including potential suspects like Arthur Lee Allen and Gary Francis Post, no conclusive evidence has surfaced. The case remains open, and amateur sleuths still analyze his messages, hoping to uncover his true identity. Was he a disturbed lone wolf who eventually faded into obscurity? Or did he assume a new identity and continue living a normal life? The chilling possibility that he was never caught and may have continued killing in secret makes him the most infamous vanished criminal in history. And there you have it, 10 of the most infamous criminals who vanished without a trace. Some of these cases remain open, some are the stuff of urban legends, and others may never be solved. But one thing is for sure, these fugitives defied all odds, evaded authorities, and disappeared into the shadows, leaving us with nothing but questions. Which case shocked you the most? Do you think any of these criminals are still out there, living under new identities? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to CrimeSphere for more deep dives into the world's most perplexing crime stories. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you love what we do, consider sharing this video with your friends. It really helps our channel grow. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep your eyes on the shadows. You never know what mysteries are lurking just around the corner.